Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we are cracking open the absolute master vault of modern communication, cognitive focus, and professional sovereignty. Let us talk about a profound structural crisis that is quietly draining your energy, destroying your productivity, and burying your greatest ideas under a mountain of digital noise. We live in an era of unprecedented information bombardment. Every single morning, we wake up and are instantly flooded with hundreds of emails, Slack messages, social media updates, corporate memos, and breaking news alerts. The human brain is drowning in words. But here is the fascinating problem. While the world has changed completely, the way we write and communicate is still stuck in the past. We are still trained by an outdated academic system to write long, bloated essays, fill our reports with endless corporate jargon, and pad our emails with meaningless pleasantries just to sound smart or thorough. We write as if people have unlimited time and infinite attention spans. But let us be completely honest with each other. What happens when you send a massive wall of text to a client, a colleague, or your team? They do not read it. They skim the first sentence, get overwhelmed, close the tab, and move on. Your vital message is completely lost, your time is entirely wasted, and your impact drops to 0. Writing more is not a sign of intellect or value. It is a selfish habit that steals time from your reader. In the modern world, brevity is no longer just a nice stylistic choice. It is an absolute survival skill, a premium currency, and a strategic superpower. Today, we are doing a massive, immersive storytelling breakdown of a masterpiece that provides the ultimate operational playbook for capturing attention in a distracted world. Smart Brevity. The Power of Saying More with Less by Jim VandeHei, Mike Allen, and Roy Schwartz. These authors are the legendary media pioneers who founded Politico and Axios, two of the most successful, high-growth news organizations of the digital age. They built their entire multi-million-dollar media empire on a singular, revolutionary thesis. If you can deliver high-value information with absolute speed, structural clarity, and punchy execution, you will win the war for human attention every single time. This video is designed to act as a relentless behavioral and professional audit. It is going to strip away the bad writing habits you have been carrying since high school, shatter your internal need to over-explain, and provide you with a raw, data-driven framework to make your words hit like a physical force. Get incredibly comfortable. Eliminate all outside notifications. Grab your field journal and let us discover how to master the code of hyper-efficient communication so you can command immediate authority and claim total dominion over your professional reality. Part 1. The brutal reality of the modern attention deficit. Let us begin our narrative by confronting the core psychological foundation of this entire philosophy. The authors introduce a cold, unyielding reality that serves as the ultimate boundary line between elite communicators and everyone else. They state that the modern human attention span has been completely fractured by the digital landscape. Imagine the data tracking what actually happens when a person opens an email or an article in the modern era. The behavioral statistics are absolutely terrifying. The average person spends a mere 26 seconds looking at any given piece of content. They do not read line by line. Instead, their eyes execute a rapid, inverted pattern across the screen. They glance at the headline, skim the first couple of sentences, skip entirely over the big blocks of paragraphs, and look for bold words or bullet points. If they do not find immediate value within the first 3 to 5 seconds, they hit the delete key. Most professionals are completely blind to this data. They continue to operate under the delusion that because an email is important to them, it will be automatically important to the recipient. They pack their updates with background context, historical details, and conversational filler, assuming they are being thorough. But the authors pull back the curtain to expose the harsh truth. You are not being thorough. You are being ignored. When you force someone to dig through a mountain of textual garbage to find your core point, you are transferring your cognitive labor onto their schedule. You are asking them to do the hard work of figuring out what matters. The Smart Brevity champion completely embraces this behavioral shift. They realize that attention is the rarest, most contested asset on the planet. They do not fight against the human habit of skimming. They actively optimize for it by taking absolute responsibility for the reader's time and cutting out every single word that does not deliver immediate utility. They stand out like a beacon of absolute clarity in a sea of corporate static. Part 2. The core paradigm shift and the death of the bloated narrative. Now that we understand the visual mechanics of the modern reader, let us look at the massive mental paradigm shift required to master this discipline. To communicate with smart brevity, you must first execute an internal revolution and permanently murder the traditional narrative structure. Think about how we were taught to write in school. We were given a specific word count to hit, which forced us to learn the art of padding. We would start with a broad introduction, slowly build up our arguments through multiple paragraphs, introduce historical context, and finally deliver our main conclusion at the very end of the essay. This is known as the pyramid structure, where the most valuable piece of data sits at the very bottom. In a fast-moving corporate environment, using the pyramid structure is absolute career suicide. No one has the time to read a 3-page background story just to find out that a project deadline has been moved or a budget has been cut. If you hide your lead sentence at the bottom, your reader will never see it. Smart brevity requires you to completely invert the pyramid. You must place your absolute most important, high-impact piece of information at the very top of the page, in the very first sentence. The authors call this the core axiom. Tell the reader exactly what they need to know before you tell them anything else. This requires immense cognitive discipline. It forces you to sit down before you write and ask yourself the ultimate filtering question. If my reader only remembers one single sentence from this entire communication, what must that sentence be? Once you isolate that core truth, you place it directly in the spotlight. You strip away the introductory pleasantries. You eliminate the casual small talk. And you deliver the absolute bottom line immediately. This upfront execution commands immediate psychological respect, declaring to your reader that you value their time and possess total mastery over your topic. Part 3. The architectural blueprint of the 4 foundational pillars. Let us move deeper into our story to look at the exact structural framework used to turn this philosophy into a repeatable daily habit. The authors break down the mechanics of Smart Brevity into a clean, architectural blueprint consisting of 4 foundational pillars that you must integrate into every email, memo, report, or presentation you produce. The first pillar is the muscular headline or subject line. Your headline is the ultimate gateway to your information. If your subject line is vague, boring, or generic, like update on project or weekly meeting, it will sit unread in an inbox forever. Your headline must be short, aggressive, and packed with direct value. It should act as a miniature summary of the entire message, containing a strong verb and a clear data point that tells the reader exactly why they need to open the message right now. The second pillar is the first line, known as the lead sentence. This is where you deliver your absolute core takeaway with zero hesitation. It should be a clean, punchy statement that answers the immediate question: what is the big news today? The third pillar is the contextual anchor, which the authors brilliantly term why it matters. After you deliver the news, you must immediately explain the deeper strategic significance of that news to the reader's world. You must answer the unexpressed psychological question that every human being asks when receiving data. So what? Why should I care about this specific change? The fourth and final pillar is the scannable layout. This is where you break up your remaining supporting details into short, digestible paragraphs, bold signposts, and clean bullet points. You format the page so that a reader can run their eyes down the screen in less than 10 seconds and absorb the entire context without reading a single full paragraph. By executing this 4-part architecture, you transform your communication from a dense wall of text into a high-efficiency data system. Part 4. The strategic command of the Why It Matters signpost. To truly understand the psychological power of this framework, let us zoom in directly on the third pillar of the architecture, the non-negotiable use of the bold signpost, Why It Matters. The authors explain that this specific phrase is the ultimate secret weapon for capturing and holding human attention. The general population assumes that if they present a set of facts, the reader will automatically understand the importance of those facts. They send a spreadsheet full of declining sales numbers or a report detailing a new market trend, and they leave it up to the recipient to connect the dots. But in a state of chronic cognitive fatigue, the reader's brain simply does not have the processing power to do that analytical heavy lifting. When you insert the explicit, bolded phrase, Why It Matters, followed by a 1 or 2 sentence explanation, something incredible happens inside the reader's mind. You instantly anchor their attention. You pull them out of a passive skimming state and force their prefrontal cortex to focus on the deep, strategic reality of your message. This signpost allows you to frame the narrative. It gives you the power to tell the reader exactly how to interpret the data you just handed them. You are no longer just a passive reporter of facts. You step into the role of a high-status, strategic advisor. You can use variations of this bold signpost depending on the specific context of your communication. You can use the big picture to provide macro-level economic context. You can use by the numbers to highlight critical financial data points. Or you can use next steps to outline immediate tactical execution commands. The key is to use these visual anchors consistently, creating a predictable, high-value reading rhythm that allows your team or your clients to consume your insights with absolute clarity and zero friction. Part 5. The Relentless War on Word Inflation and Jargon. Our story now moves into the tactical trenches of editing and refinement. The authors declare an absolute, unyielding war on a silent disease that corrupts modern corporate and academic cultures, the disease of word inflation, passive phrasing, and meaningless institutional jargon. Most professionals use long, complicated words and dense sentences because they are driven by a hidden psychological insecurity. They believe that if they use simple language, they will look uneducated, basic, or low status. They fill their sentences with hollow buzzwords like synergistic optimization, holistic paradigms, and operationalizing deliverables. They write long, winding sentences packed with passive verbs, turning a simple thought into a confusing linguistic puzzle. The Manual of Smart Brevity completely shatters this insecurity. The authors remind us that true sophistication is not making a simple topic sound complicated. True sophistication is making a complex topic sound incredibly simple. When you use jargon and over-engineered sentences, you are not impressing your reader. You are actively confusing them and signaling that you do not truly understand your core subject matter. To claim absolute linguistic sovereignty, you must become a brutal, cold-blooded editor of your own work. When you finish a draft, look at every single sentence and aggressively hunt for word inflation. Replace long words with short words. Turn passive phrases into active commands. Strip away every single unnecessary adjective and adverb that does not add concrete data to the narrative. If a sentence can be deleted without changing the ultimate message of the document, delete it immediately. Never use two sentences when you can say it in one. By burning away the textual fat, you expose the raw, muscular bone of your argument, allowing your ideas to resonate with absolute velocity and unmatched persuasive power. Part 6. Re-engineering corporate culture through structural efficiency. To scale this level of efficiency across an entire enterprise or business venture, you cannot let smart brevity remain an isolated individual habit. It must be woven directly into the structural architecture of your organizational culture. The authors detail how implementing this communication standard across teams can save thousands of hours of collective operational time and eliminate massive amounts of institutional waste. Think about the massive financial drain that happens inside the average modern corporation due to inefficient communication. Millions of dollars are wasted every single year on long, pointless meetings that could have been handled in a single email, and hours are spent by high-paid executives sorting through bloated internal updates that say absolutely nothing of value. When you establish Smart Brevity as the non-negotiable communication standard for your team, you completely eliminate this operational drag. You mandate that every internal email, weekly status update, and project proposal must strictly adhere to the inverted pyramid and the 4 pillars of efficiency. This completely transforms the communication dynamic of the workplace. Meetings become shorter and more laser-focused because everyone has already consumed the core data up front. Internal updates are read and acted upon with high velocity because they are formatted for immediate visual scanning. Employees spend less time typing long, unnecessary prose and more time focusing on real-world, tactical execution. By enforcing this structural discipline, you protect the valuable attention of your entire workforce. You build an incredibly agile, high-performance corporate culture that processes information faster than your competition, allowing your organization to adapt to market shifts and execute strategic initiatives with absolute certainty and unstoppable power. Part 7. Mastering the Art of Visual Brevity Across Digital Platforms. As we move toward the pinnacle of personal sovereignty, we must transition from internal corporate communications into the high-stakes world of public content creation, digital marketing, and personal branding. The authors explain that the principles of Smart Brevity apply with even greater intensity when you are communicating with an external audience across digital platforms. Whether you are writing a newsletter, launching a business website, publishing an online article, or creating video descriptions, you are competing against the entire internet for a single second of focus. If your public presentation is dense, text-heavy, and unorganized, the market will instantly punish you. The digital consumer will click away without a single moment of hesitation. To command supreme authority online, you must master the art of visual brevity. This means treating white space as a powerful design element rather than an empty void. A page with massive, unbroken paragraphs looks like an exhausting cognitive chore to a modern user, triggering an immediate bounce reflex. You must design your content for the screen. Use exceptionally short paragraphs, ideally no more than 2 or 3 sentences long. Bold the first 2 or 3 words of a key bullet point to guide the user's eye directly to the value anchor. Use clean line breaks to create breathing room between your ideas, allowing your content to feel light, accessible, and high velocity. When you align your visual layout with the natural scanning mechanics of the human eye, you drastically lower the entry barrier to your information. Your audience will consume your insights effortlessly, retain your core concepts with greater accuracy, and develop a deep psychological trust in your brand as a premier source of direct, unfiltered value. Part 8. The Roadmap to Elite Communication and Lasting Impact. As our epic storytelling journey through the transformative wisdom of Jim VandeHei, Mike Allen, and Roy Schwartz reaches its ultimate destination, let us step back and look at the entire architectural map of your newly engineered personal presence. Remember this final, unshakable truth. Smart brevity is not about cutting corners or oversimplifying complex realities. It is the ultimate expression of respect, mental clarity, and profound human focus. Stop allowing the modern matrix of textual bloat, corporate jargon, and digital confusion to dilute the power of your intellect. Stop listening to the weak internal insecurities that force you to over-explain your value and permanently retire the habit of writing long sentences that hide your genius from the world. Step into your authentic personal sovereignty today. Re-engineer your daily habits by strictly applying the inverted pyramid to every piece of data you produce. Place your absolute core nous in the very first sentence without hesitation and anchor your reader's focus with the bold strategic signpost, why it matters. Wage a relentless, cold-blooded war against word inflation and institutional buzzwords, replacing passive fluff with active, data-driven execution commands. Enforce these standards across your business ventures to build an agile, high-velocity culture and design your digital content with visual brevity to command maximum authority online. When you develop the unshakable courage to say more with less, you permanently exit the matrix of professional invisibility. The illusions of communication breakdowns, overlooked ideas, and ignored messaging will fall away entirely from your life. You will command absolute clarity over your professional relationships, build massive trust with high-status partners and clients, protect your valuable cognitive energy from the parasites of digital noise, and discover that you have transformed your existence into a magnificent, unyielding monument of relentless momentum, total executive presence, and lasting global impact. What is the #1 Smart Brevity strategy from this communication masterclass? Whether it is committing to place your most critical takeaway in the absolute first line of your very next email, integrating the bolded signpost, why it matters into your daily corporate updates, or ruthlessly cutting 30% of the words from your current business pitch that you are going to commit to practicing in your life today. Let me know your efficiency and communication goals in the comments down below. If this deep dive storytelling summary completely restructured your mental frameworks and handed you a definitive architectural playbook for high-velocity influence and executive presence, show some incredible support by clicking that like button. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss another profound performance, psychological, or high-status leadership book breakdown. And share this video with a colleague or friend who needs to stop sending walls of text today. Invert the pyramid, burn away the fat, say more with less, and I will see you in the next video.